Hi, it's Sophie, and I'm really excited that I have been able to drop back into your inbox today and share this follow-up exercise, which I call an on-paper incisive question exercise. Before you use it, I just wanted to give you a little bit of context and some kind of instructions so it will make a little bit more sense. I normally use this on my courses that I'm running, so I'd have given you a lot more sort of instruction before we got to this point. So just, yeah, kind of to make it make sense. The first thing or the first challenge that we need to address is trying to work out what we most want. So what is a challenging step in our life or our work that we want to take, or something that we want to stop doing, but we're not doing it? Why? Why are we not doing these things? Sometimes it's just a lack of time. So sometimes it's that we haven't had the time to really sit down and think about it and work out what we want. Often, though, we are limited. So we are limiting ourselves by our own untrue and limiting assumptions about what is possible or about how life works. So I just wanted to talk a little bit with you about assumptions and how powerful they are so that it makes the exercise make a little bit more sense. So the definition of an assumption is something that we take as true and real, largely without evidence and largely unexamined. Assumptions are really important because they drive our behaviour, but they largely sit in our unconscious. So often we develop assumptions over our lifetime about what's possible, what's not, what we get love for, what we get approval for. Sometimes these assumptions get embedded from when we're quite young. Sometimes they just are based on what we observe, what we experience. And we start making assumptions. From these assumptions, we make conclusions about how life works. And then on those conclusions, we start behaving and start presenting ourselves out to the world. And on that, we then get sort of a belief structure and sort of a sense of identity. The thing with assumptions is they largely sit in our unconscious. They often don't have language. They can have emotions attached, but they might not have an ability to rationally understand and work with them. But in the work I do, more often than not, we find that people aren't limited by things that are external to them, although there might be external limitations. Before we can even get to that point, so often we limit ourselves because of these untrue and limiting assumptions that we've internalized and are living as true. And that's why this exercise is so powerful, because it goes straight into looking for the assumptions that are stopping you doing whatever it is you want to do. What else do I want to share about them? I don't think that, no, that's enough. I think that's enough. So I just want you to identify something that you want to achieve. So something that's challenging and something that feels meaningful to you. And then go through the exercise on paper. So within that, I'm going to ask you to identify all of the things that might be stopping you from doing that. And then I'm going to kind of exhaust that. So keep asking that question until there's no more assumptions that you've got. I'm then going to ask you to identify which one of those assumptions do you think is most likely to be stopping you from achieving that outcome. And it's not to say the others aren't important. It's just our mind can only think about one assumption at a time in relation to that goal. But I want you to then think about that one. And then I want you to ask yourself, do you think it's true? And what this does is forces that assumption up into our conscious mind, where we can apply logic and information and reasoning to it. And sometimes, as soon as we bring it out into the light, as soon as we have a look at it, it's so obviously untrue. But until that moment that we've consciously thought about it, it's felt true. So I want you to ask yourself, do you think that assumption is true? And then again, just keep following the questions, because what we're going to look for then is a credible alternative to that. And then we're going to come up with a different assumption that feels more true and liberating, and then attach that to your original goal to see what you come up with. This ability to release limiting and untrue assumptions is a key part of the work I do. It's pivotal to how I live and how I interact with other people. And it's this understanding of incisive questions that has really allowed me to live in a way that feels totally aligned with my values, what I love doing, feeling really fulfilled, doing meaningful work. But this part of the journey really allows us to start taking inspired action. And it's the springboard from which we're able to really, I guess, courageously transform any aspect of our life that we want to change. I wanted to share it with you on paper, but sometimes it can really help to have somebody talk through it with you and go through it in practice. So I would really love, if you want me to, we could jump on a call for 20 minutes or half an hour where I could do this exercise with you. So I can ask you the questions and I can work through it with you. Um, and I can answer any other questions you've got about kind of the thinking environment or the work I do or how I might be able to sort of support you, but with no strings attached at all. If you want me to talk you through this exercise in person, I would love to. I've attached a link below where you can get some time in my diary so we can connect in person. I really hope you do the exercise either on your own or arrange to have a call with me, and I'd love to work through it with you. It's really, really juicy, so you can get some really good stuff going. But thank you again for letting me into your inbox, and I will stay connected for a while. But yeah, please do reach out. Okay.